who can blame them if they made these great deals with the United States, took advantage of the United States on manufacturing, on just about everything, every aspect that you can imagine they took advantage of. I look at some of these agreements, I'd read them at night, and I'd say, who would ever sign a thing like this?
Is he joking? So after hearing that Donald Trump is going to re-invoke the 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada, there was only one thing I was really concerned about after he made the statement that this is such a bad deal. I really only had one question I needed to figure out, because it's just not making sense to me the way that he makes these statements about the USMCA when it's a deal that he signed, so Joe Biden must have done something.
There was no other way.
And for some reason, no matter how hard I looked, everywhere I went, no matter where I searched, from my perspective, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost seems like the USMCA deal has not been touched in the Biden administration. They did nothing to repeal it. In fact, they upheld it. You could see in this statement where it says, this approach to trade is more than rhetoric. It is being put into practice in the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, the successor to the North American Free Trade Agreement. NAFTA, the USMCA was negotiated during the Trump administration, but the Biden administration in particular has used the deal's novel enforcement mechanism to fight for labor law reforms to the benefit of workers in both Mexico and the United States. So I think with that stated, we can officially say the deal has not been touched.
You just don't get it, do you? You don't.
So with that stated, how does this make sense?
We're on time with the tariffs, and it seems like that's moving along very rapidly. We've been mistreated very badly by many countries, not just Canada and Mexico. We've been taken advantage of. We were led by, in some cases, fools, because anybody that would sign documents like they signed, where they were able to take advantage of the American people, like has happened over the last long period of time, except for a little 4-year period that took place 4 years ago. But anybody that would agree to allow this to happen to our country should be ashamed of themselves. No, the tariffs are going forward on time, on schedule. This is an abuse that took place for many, many years. And I'm not even blaming the other countries that did this. I blame our leadership for allowing it to happen. I mean, who can blame them if they made these great deals with the United States, took advantage of the United States on manufacturing, on just about everything, every aspect that you can imagine they took advantage of. I look at some of these agreements, I'd read them at night, and I'd say, who would ever sign a thing like this? So the tariffs will go forward, yes, and we're going to make up a lot of territory. All we want is reciprocal. We want reciprocity. We want to have the same. So if somebody charges us, we charge them. It's very simple, but it'll be very good for our country. Our country will be extremely liquid and rich again.
This is a rich statement coming from a guy who once said, change the laws so I can't use them to my advantage when talking about his own taxes.
Damn!
She complains about how I've used the tax laws of this country to my benefit. Then I ask a simple question. Why didn't she ever try to change those laws so I couldn't use them? You know why? She could have changed the laws when she was in the United States Senate, but she didn't.
Now, the USMCA deal had a couple of stipulations that were negotiated within it. To put it very vaguely, just pluses as to what they want to see done. They want to create a more level playing field for American workers, including improved rules of origins for automobiles, trucks, and other products, and disciplines on currency manipulation. They want to benefit American farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses by modernizing and strengthening food and agriculture trade in North America. They want to support a 21st century economy through a new protection for U.S. intellectual property and ensuring opportunities for trade in U.S. services. And lastly, it was digital. They want to cover digital trade, anti-corruption, and good regulation practices. So when he makes a statement about being taken advantage of, I highly think that he's still talking about NAFTA.
That is not what you said.
So naturally, since the announcement came that the tariffs are officially on their way, Canada responded.
I haven't been briefed on the latest comments by President Trump, but when it comes to tariffs, we know that there are 3 executive orders that are focusing on Canada, but also on other allies. The first one is linked to March 4th pause, and it is linked to our border and fentanyl, and it is targeting Mexico and us. The second is about aluminum and steel, and that's basically with all trading partners exporting steel and aluminum to the US. And the third is executive order is linked to reciprocal tariffs, and that's also for a deadline of April 1st. And it is affecting every single trading partner. So my point is we need to be able to deal with the unpredictability of President Trump. We need to be aware that the threat of tariffs is a real one and may continue for a while. And meanwhile, we need to stand strong and send a clear message that Canadians will fight back. And that's what we'll do. I will always be there to tell them the truth, and not only that, to make sure that ultimately we're ready and that we come up with a strong reaction. You know, Mackenzie, what is important to remember is Canada is the only country on earth that actually decided to come up with such a strong response of $155 billion worth of tariffs against the US. And we were the only ones saying exactly what we would do with that first tranche of tariffs of $30 billion. And why am I saying that is since we're not the only ones under the threat of tariffs, this is exactly why I'm here right now in the UK, and I've been in Europe now for 10 days. It is important that allies under that threat work together and work as a coalition by having the same types of countermeasures of counter tariffs.
Anyone that knows even a little bit about business knows that instability is not a good thing.
We're supposed to help our people.
And what these tariffs plan on doing is on top of the jobs that have already been lost.
He just found out he's probably going to get laid off. He's going to get doged. And this guy's not a DEI consultant. This guy's not a climate consultant. This guy is a veteran. We just need to be a little bit less callous with the way, Harold, we talk about doging people. Okay? I want that to sink in.
You're arguing with yourself.
No, I am not guilty of that.
That same guy lecturing on being less callous.
Elon Musk putting federal workers actually here in Washington on notice this weekend. The Office of Personnel and Management sending an email to all federal employees demanding that they justify their jobs by tomorrow at midnight. Now, an email obtained by News Nation shows the subject line read, "What did you do last week?" It instructed recipients to reply with 5 examples of what they got done, excluding any classified information in that response. Now, it also asked workers to include their supervisor in the response. But where things get murky here is there are a lot of agency official heads who are directing employees to outright ignore the email from OPM, one being newly sworn in FBI Director Kash Patel, who is telling his employees at the FBI to review, that the review here by the FBI is under their purview and that they will conduct reviews in accordance to FBI procedures. Now, this as leadership at the Department of Defense is also doing the same, telling employees, quote, "Please pause any response to the OPM email titled, 'What did you do last week?'" Now, Musk tweeting a short time ago that he has faith in the cuts being made so far, saying, quote, "As the immense waste and fraud are eliminated from Social Security and Medicaid, there is potential increase actual dollars received by citizens." Natasha there, that Elon Musk.
All right, Libby Dean at the White House tonight. Thank you.
And then, of course, more vocal leaders like Premier Doug Ford. He decided that he was going to speak up. Here's what he had to say.
When they had the governor's meeting, the loudest voice down there was ourselves, myself and Premier Houston. And I've yet to meet an American citizen, a governor, a senator, a congressperson that agrees with what President Trump is doing. It doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. But we have to be ready. And the day those tariffs come, I've directed the LCBO to pull off every bottle of booze there is from the U.S., and there's a lot of them. There's 3,600 products from 35 states. So there's going to be a lot of upset Americans that they can't ship their booze up to Ontario. And I'm encouraging every other premier in the country, pull the U.S. alcohol off your shelves. That's number one. Number two, we have $30 billion of procurement. We will pull every contract off any U.S. companies, especially we do a lot in the tech sector. They're done, they're gone. We're reviewing the cost of electricity we're sending down there. And if he puts tariffs on anything in Canada or Ontario, they're getting a tariff on their electricity. And then we'll go to the next stage and we'll wait to see what happens from there. But then we have a strong list. We're working collaboratively with all the premiers in the federal government to make sure we have retaliatory measures. And I've always said it's dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. But we're all working well as Team Canada, and we're going to continue working well, and we'll be ready for anything that comes our way.
Trump keeps on teasing with all this tariff foreplay. Just get down to business.
What?
Let's see how things unfold. That's all I got for now. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, leave your comment in the comment section, and I will see you guys again on the next one. Be easy, y'all.